it's Gregory, and it is fabulous to see you all for another beauty video. And I know y'all are gonna love this one because you've been asking for it. Finally, it is my video on hyperpigmentation and how to treat it. Now, this is a little complicated, it's gonna get a little technical, but what I'm gonna do is tell you a little bit more about the ingredients and how they work, and then I will list a whole bunch of products that I suggest down below that you guys can kind of click through and check out. But let's dive in. So let's first talk about like the different types of hyperpigmentation, because believe it or not, they're all not the same. I know. There is post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and this is the kind of like dark spot that you get like after a zit. And what that is that's caused by like trauma or injury. And the good news is that while they're a pain in the butt, they're actually pretty easy to treat and they respond well and typically go away in like a month or two. Now, a little more complicated are what's called lentigines, and they are what you would actually call age spots. And they're not actually caused by aging, you just see more of them as time goes on, but those are actually like your UV-induced spots, or more appropriately, sunspots. And then you have finally what people call melasma, and this is a darkening of the skin that is typically hormonal based, and you see this a lot of times with women who become pregnant or with birth control, and that is actually the most difficult one to treat. So that's kind of the scoop on the 411 on the different types of hyperpigmentation. Now let's talk about how we can actually treat them. Now, what causes hyperpigmentation is melanin. Melanin is what gives your skin its color, which today is nice and bronzy, but of course that's fake. Shh. Now, let's talk about what we want to do then in treating hyperpigmentation is kind of keep that melanin from going to those spots that give that its darkness. And what we need for that is an ingredient that's going to inhibit that production of melanin. And that is something called a tyrosinase inhibitor. I know, it's a very fancy word. I'm going to try and spell it out here. Or actually, are you reading this way? I don't know because I'm looking at myself. You get the point. But a tyrosinase inhibitor, that is an enzyme that actually helps in the production of melanin. So by inhibiting that, you actually keep that spot from gaining all of that melanin. And that is going to be in an ingredient like hydroquinone. Hydroquinone is a tyrosinase inhibitor. So what that's going to do is go in there and help kind of block that enzyme from producing that melanin and darkening that spot. Now, hydroquinone has kind of gotten a little bit of a shady reputation. It's actually banned in other countries, but it's the only ingredient that's approved here in the US to officially say that it lightens the skin. And it is available in smaller concentrations over the counter and a more power-packed dose by prescription. Something like hydroquinone, you really don't want to do it all over. You really want to spot treat and only put it on the areas that you're trying to treat. Now, let's say that you prefer not to put anything that's as let's say controversial as hydroquinone or chemical based. There are natural alternatives to that, and that is going to be something like kojic acid, which actually comes from the fungus family, meaning mushrooms, and it works in the same way by kind of blocking that tyrosinase enzyme that's going to contribute to all of that melanin production. So what's key here is that what you want to do is stop that melanin production and then shed those dead cells. So you can kind of expedite getting rid of the ones that were already there. Continuing along in our inhibition of melanin is another ingredient called niacinamide, commonly known as like B5. It's a B5 vitamin. This is similar to hydroquinone and kojic acid, but instead of actually inhibiting the tyrosinase enzyme, it actually inhibits the transfer. So while it doesn't block the production, it's kind of reroutes it from going where it's supposed to go, so to speak. So it makes it take like a little detour. And by creating that detour, it does not pop that melanin back into your dark spots. So now we have a couple of great ingredients to actually quell that melanin production. You need to kind of put it into fifth gear on shedding those dead cells so you can remove that kind of superficial darkness on your skin. And that's going to be done with ingredients like retinoids and alpha hydroxy acids. What these do, and if you're not super familiar, check that video out, are going to increase exfoliation or cell turnover in the skin. So that way, those cells that have already been affected by that pigment are going to come up and fall off faster and faster and reveal those newer cells where you've been kind of inhibiting the melanin production. Now you kind of see here, you need both. And because what you want to do is shed and treat and shed and treat. And the key word here, and I'm going to be super honest with y'all, is patience, because those dark spots have taken a really long time to get there, so they are not going to go away overnight. This often will take a few months, about 12 for the average inhibitor to really start to work, and then for you to see results with that. So you need to kind of be doing a synergistic effort of inhibiting and exfoliating in the meantime to see those results. Now, of course, professional treatments are a great option too. Chemical peels and microdermabrasion will expedite that new cell turnover on a super fast level. And in the same breath, a professional medical prescription is going to pack a more power-packed dose than over-the-counter. But that's up to you depending on what your budget is and how efficaciously, if that's a word, I think so, you want to treat these dark spots. Also, with that said, the last but probably most important ingredient that you must use this one is SPF. If you are not blocking the sun's rays from popping down and telling all that melanin, hey, come to the surface, it's pointless. You might as well just take all of your inhibitors and your exfoliators and toss them into the trash. You must use sunscreen every day. I mean, you should every day, but especially if you want to do a lightening program. So that is the word from your beauty BFF and your expert friend. What are you doing for lightening? Have you tried some things? What do you love that works? Let us know. Comment down below. Of course, I'll answer your questions. I'd love to talk to you all. Don't forget to follow me on social media, Instagram and Twitter at Gregory'sLA, and Pinterest, Gregory Dillon, and I'm on Snapchat at Gregory'sLA too. So snap me, I'll snap you. We're snap happy. Anyway, I'm starting to babble, so that's my cue to go. You guys have an awesome week. I love you all, and keep it beautiful.